teams, Lauren here with Bizrok. In this week's video, I'm really speaking to practice leaders within an organization. So whether you are the practice owner, lead doctor, lead hygienist, practice manager, DO, it doesn't matter. Guys, this video is for you. So in this week's video, I want to stretch your thinking, and I want you to focus on how you can personally grow as a leader. See, great leaders are willing to learn and be held accountable, but also willing to be vulnerable and say, hey guys, I'm not perfect. How do I learn? How do I grow? And one of the best tools that we've created just for you is our leadership survey. Now, if you're new to Bizrok and you're watching this, here's what I would ask for you to do. Don't do this leadership survey yet. Focus on implementing some of the things that we've already taught you about leadership. Learn and grow and development and pour into your team and go build rapport with them and ask them how they're doing. Be willing to hold them accountable. Reset the direction of your organization. And then after doing that for about a year, go to the leadership survey. It's a really great place to start to see how you have grown as a leader and see where you can continue to grow and develop and support your team. So that leadership survey, which if you need that, reach out to us. We can send you the direct link. We have it in a digital copy, but also in an interactive form that you can share with your team, or you can just print it out for ease of business. But in that leadership survey, we have our 5 pillars of leadership, and each pillar is broken up into 7 survey questions that you can ask your team members. So if you've worked with us long enough, you know that we like to look at and evaluate team members on a poor, good, great, and exceptional scale. Well, leaders, you're in that same boat, right? Now, maybe you shouldn't be looking at the team development guide for you, but as a leader, you should say, how am I doing? Am I poor? Am I good? Am I great? Or am I exceptional in these different areas? And how can I get better? So the 5 pillars of leadership, if you don't have these memorized, I would hit pause and get ready to write these down. But the first one is to direct, which means providing clarity of direction to your organization, making sure that your team knows exactly where they're going. Are you the quick start who just gives somebody a brief bullet point and asks them to run with it? Or are you going to sit down and provide them additional information? See, for me as a leader, one thing that I don't do is give tons and tons of facts and bullet points and information. I like to give high-level information, and so my team knows that about me, but I give them permission to ask as many questions as they want. And then at Bizrok, we have an internal rule. If I'm giving you a project, I just need you to get it 80%. If you get it 80%, I'll sit down with you and we'll work together to get it the other 100%. And so that's how I provide direction for our team. So the next pillar is to serve. Guys, some of the greatest leaders on this planet were servant leaders. And it wasn't just some fancy buzzword that they put on a resume. They actually lived it. They served their team. They went and asked their team what they can do to help them. They also weren't too humble to go and clean a restroom for somebody or see that the team's behind and help take out the trash. Now, for some of you, you're like, Lauren, I've done all of those jobs before, but here's $1 million question for you. Are you still willing to do it today? That's servant leadership. And so there's about 7 questions broken out just on service. So we have direct, serve. The 3rd pillar is to support. See, supporting is doing something a little different. This is really where you start to guide your team members and you go to them and ask them where else you can support them in a position, in their new jobs. You trust but verify. Do you give them a task, but then follow up with them and give them constant feedback? Do you give them feedback like, hey, you're doing a really great job here, here, and here. I still need you to work on this. Guys, that is supporting them. It's not just giving them a task and expecting them to run with it, and we never actually check in on them, right? And so we've got to make sure that we're following through with our support. The 4th pillar of leadership is to develop. People want to grow. People want to develop. And if you have team members in your organization who say, I'm good, I don't want to grow, I don't want to learn, I don't want to develop, then you need to ask yourself and be honest with yourself and say, are they the right person to help take my organization to the next level? Because if you're watching this video and if you're investing in training, my guess is you do want to grow your practice. And Bizrok, we focus very heavily on scalability, which is doing more with the same amount of resources, not necessarily just adding another body body into the mix. And so if you have team members who are not growth oriented, they're at a maturity stage, you've got to be honest with yourself, because after maturity comes decline. And guys, I don't want you to decline. And so at some point in time, you have to say, do I have team members who truly want to develop and grow? And then sometimes maybe they're just not learning and growing from you, and that's okay. That's why you have people like us come in and support you and guide you and help guide your team. I always think about development with regards to a parent versus coach mentality, right? The parent tells their kid, here's how you hit a baseball. And so they show them and they line them up, and the kid rolls their eyes and like, yeah. And they never listen. But then the coach says it, and the kid goes to mom and dad, and they're like, oh my gosh, my coach is so brilliant. They told me to line up the ball perfectly, and here's how I do a perfect swing. And you're internally thinking, I've told you that 20 times. Guys, who cares how they got there? The point is that they got there, right? And so sometimes having the coach, i.e. Bizrok, tell team members what you've been trying to get them to implement and do, sometimes it does come across a little better. I don't know why it works, guys, but it does, right? We've been there, I promise, I get it. And so you've got to make sure that you're continuously developing your team members, helping them to grow in their role and achieve that next level of success for them. Okay. And the fifth and final, and I would argue my favorite pillar of leadership, because oftentimes I feel like, I hear from doctors, Lauren, I serve and I support, and they've got clarity of direction and I develop them. But why are we not growing? It likely is because of this fifth pillar, which is to unite. Unity is the secret to an exceptional organization. And we've done videos in the past that's just on practice philosophy. That's how you create unity, right? Is you have the proper philosophy within your organization and you're holding people accountable. But unity should be your number one goal as a practice owner and as a leader within your organization, making sure that the team is communicating, they're following through on the right systems and processes, they're doing the things that need to be done, and providing an exceptional experience for your patients. Guys, that's the key. You've got to have unity in order to have a successful organization. But I go through those pillars because our leadership survey covers all of those with a multitude of questions to support them. So as a leader, as you're growing, as you're implementing different things that we've taught you and trained you on, you're able to pinpoint exactly where you should continue to learn and grow. So the best of the best leaders are continuously growing. So I'm asking you to step out, to be vulnerable, give this survey to your direct supports, make sure it is anonymous. If you actually want to grow, you really do truly need honest feedback. And with that honest feedback, you can grow and develop. But you've got to have honest results, which means you need to allow your team a safe zone, which means having those results be anonymous. So if you need help with that, if you want a digital copy, reach out to us, send us an email, info@bizrok, bizrok.com. We'd be happy to help you facilitate with that with your practice. And as always, guys, we can't wait to see you and serve you soon.